Welcome to another episode of Growing in the Faith, and thank you for joining me. Wherever you are, I hope you are growing in the faith. Have you ever wondered why is it that victory in certain situations seems to take a long time in coming? This is despite the fact that you pray, you fast, you join others in agreement, yet it takes what seems to be forever to happen. Why does victory sometimes seem so slow to happen, even for us as children of God? One thing I've come to realize is that giving us anything we desire is absolutely no difficult thing for the Lord to do. After all, as Jeremiah declared, sovereign Lord, you have made the heavens and the earth by your great power and outstretched arm. Nothing is too hard for you. There is nothing too hard or difficult for the Lord to do. So, our not getting a desired victory when we want it is not because of our Father's lack of ability. No, rather, there are times when He wants us to learn some lessons before we gain that victory. You know, when you arrive at a level you're not prepared for, you won't know how to handle that new level and may possibly even fall back. Sometimes God does not give us victory in one go, but He lets us go through defeat and failure before we gain victory. During these stages of failure and defeat, we learn some invaluable lessons that strengthen us and help us value the eventual victory even more. There are lessons we learn in defeat and failure that we don't learn if victory always came without a struggle. Failure isn't pleasurable, no, but it can be very beneficial. God uses failure and defeat to build us up. One lesson we definitely learn in failure and defeat is trusting God more than ever before. When you fail and victory seems to be elusive, where will you run to? To whom will you go? In an example of defeat before victory, the children of Israel went against their brethren, the children of Benjamin, in retaliation for a terrible deed done by the men of Benjamin against a concubine of an Israelite. The Israelites had a much larger army, and in the first attack, they asked God what they should do. They didn't just go to war. I read, "Then the children of Israel arose and went up to the house of God to inquire of God. They said, 'Which of us shall go up first to battle against the children of Benjamin?' The Lord said, 'Judah first.'" They obeyed, but were defeated. And what did they do? I read, "And the people," that is, the men of Israel, "encouraged themselves, and again formed the battle line at the place where they had put themselves in array on the first day." They encouraged themselves. They didn't give up or see themselves as victims. Yes, it was defeat, but it wasn't over for them. Their God was very much on His throne. What else did they do? They went and stood in battle formation in the same place as the first time where they had lost. They asked God again, and He said they should go up against the Benjamites in battle. They did so and lost yet again. They were naturally upset and they wept, but they did not give up. They asked the Lord a third time, and He said they should go. This time, they defeated them and gained victory. A victory that was slow in coming, but which eventually came. What lessons can we learn from this? Never give up. The fact that you heard God telling you to do something does not mean there won't be challenges, but you must try and try again. The Israelites tried 3 times before they were eventually successful, despite the Lord telling them each time to go ahead in battle. Keep trusting God no matter what, as long as you are certain you are doing what He has approved. The fact that we have experienced defeat does not mean that God is no longer God. The fact that you have failed does not mean God is incapable of giving you victory. He's just preparing you for where He's taking you. Often, our victory comes little by little. The Lord said to the Israelites as they headed to the promised land that He would not drive out its present occupants all at once. I read, "Little by little, I will drive them out before you until you have increased enough to take possession of the land." They were going to have victory by possessing the land promised to them, but it would be little by little, so they could progressively become strong enough to take the land. The Lord said if He gave them an instant victory when they were still too few, they could become overwhelmed by the remaining inhabitants of the land, the wild animals. It is the same for us. God sometimes does not allow us to have instant victory, not because He can't give it to us, but because we won't be able to cope. We won't be prepared. So he gives us victory little by little. The lessons you learn on the way help prepare you for a higher level. Have you stopped to think that, in hindsight, some of the detours and delays you've had in life have ultimately been beneficial? Be honest. I'm sure you've thought of it that if you had succeeded just like that, without the struggles you went through and the lessons you've learned, you wouldn't be who you are today. We live in a world in which everything is wanted fast and failure is frowned upon. Everyone wants to be a winner and associate only with those who have succeeded. Sometimes, when you are not successful in the eyes of the world, or you have these temporary defeats, even when God is with you, you can feel invisible. That's the truth. But that's only if you allow the world to define you and set an agenda for you. Little by little also applies to building wealth. I read, dishonest money dwindles away, but whoever gathers money little by little makes it grow. Your victory may come slowly, but it will be one that endures. Your victory may involve a long wait. Joseph waited a long time to see the manifestation of the future God had declared to him through 2 dreams. From the Bible, we can deduce exactly how long he had to wait for his dreams to come to pass. First, he was 17 years old when he's introduced in Genesis chapter 37, where the accounts of his 2 dreams are reported. 13 years later, at the age of 30, he became the governor of Egypt. I read, he was 30 years old when he began serving in the court of Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. A few years after, his first dream comes to pass. The 7 years of plenty had ended and the years of famine were just beginning. I read, then the 7 years of plenty which were in the land of Egypt ended, and the 7 years of famine began to come. It was at this point, as the famine started, that I read, Joseph's brothers came and bowed down before him with their faces to the earth. This was now a total of 20 years. 20 years had passed from the time he had the dreams. He was now 37 years old when his first dream was fulfilled. Then, 2 years into the famine, all his brothers, including Benjamin, his full-blood brother, were now before him. Joseph was now 39 years old. It was a total period of 22 years from when he had the dreams up to this point. Though he didn't know it at the time, Joseph, at the age of 17, had 20 years of waiting ahead of him for his first dream to manifest. I'm not sure how many of us can realistically put ourselves in his shoes. What makes it even remarkable is that he was only 17 when this journey started. But all through his journey, he had other victories that built up to the eventual manifestation of his dreams. As a slave, he was in charge of Potiphar's household. As a prisoner, he was put in charge of other prisoners before eventually becoming second in command to the king of Egypt, despite not being an Egyptian. Making the best of your circumstances is your choice because God is always with you. For Joseph, this was a journey. For some others, it would have been a nightmare. But he made a choice about how he was going to see all what was happening to him. God was with him, and that was what mattered. Joseph made the best of his circumstances, whether as a slave or as a prisoner, and he excelled in each circumstance. Don't just focus on victory or success, because not only may you be tempted to do anything to get it, but you will also miss the other victories along the way that authenticate your Christian walk. My brother, my sister, trust in God even in difficult circumstances, that He is leading you and taking you to the good destination He has promised. Your faith in God must come from a place of total trust in Him, that He has your best interests at heart. Let this scripture be your anchor. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. God has excellent plans for you, which only He can bring to pass. Your victory may seem long in coming, but until then, keep trusting in Him. Be patient and don't give up, and learn every lesson He wants you to learn as you prepare for your promotion. In due time, He will give you the victory you so earnestly desire. I hope you have enjoyed this episode and have learned some things from it. All the scriptures referenced in this episode will come up on the screen at the end. I look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, bye-bye, and God bless you as you continue to grow in the faith. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on your post notifications. Thank you.